Men, the future is in your hands. So stop using it to finger women. Now, before your women kill me, let's start this podcast. Welcome to Break Time on Westside, your number one break time podcast show, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic is Sir Denver B, and this is Battle of the Sexes, episode 8. We have lasted longer than some of y'all, but that is not the point of discussion today. I must bring this to the public because clearly it's something that happens in the family that we never like to talk about. It's something that's been happening that we never like to talk about up until Game of Thrones. For those of y'all that know about this, then you clearly know very well that this was something that I was going to talk about eventually. Now, a US court about 2 weeks ago allowed James and Victoria Baines, a brother and sister from New Jersey, to actually get married. Like, these are real life blood brother and blood sister. And they were given permission to get married. Now, I'm not going to talk about how fucked up the US legal system is for doing that, even though these people have been fighting for about 10 years. What I am going to talk about is the underlying issue. Incest is becoming a thing. I'm not saying it's good. I am not saying it's bad. Okay, I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying it's bad. Yeah, let me say that it's bad so that I can sound nice here. I don't want to sound like I endorse funny sexual norms. But here's something that, we all need to accept. Incest is something that happens in families. It's just that we don't like to talk about it very much. So I figured, it's about time I bring it to light. Because if it's happening between brother and sister and they use the defense of, this is something that happens between cousins get married. Like, people talk about this a lot and they're like, oh, even the Muslims allow cousins to get married. It's not like it's a bad thing, because for them, they're like, if you're going to get married to like your fourth cousin. Fourth cousin is why they're like okay with it. So I figured, if you're going to make it a fourth cousin thing, let's look at it from, the different ranges of, distance, blood, and so on. So when you think about it, if it's your, brother, sister, if you're going to do it, by the way, don't tell any of us. We do not need to know. Let that shit stay between the two of you. I would never want to be one of the people keeping such a secret. Brother and sister smashing, that is something I would never want to admit knowing. If it's your first cousin, also, don't really tell anyone. Maybe a friend here and there, like that can be something interesting to talk about. But, like shit's happened in Game of Thrones. And everyone uses that as a justifying excuse. So we can let that one slide. First cousin, don't do that shit. Or at least don't tell us that you've done it. Second cousin, it seems like it's slightly okay. But still, don't tell anyone about it. Because, you guys still have some sort of direct relation. When it gets to your third cousin, you can do it and, you can probably go for like a repeat trial because, well, there's like barely any blood there. And, fourth cousin, if the Muslims are allowing it, I'm not Muslim, but shit, as most people would say, there's like no blood relation there. There's no way that your DNAs are matching on anything. So by all means, fuck around. And then just don't tell us that it's a distant cousin. Because fourth cousin is near as much distance as like a family friend. And who hasn't thought about banging a family friend once? Except me. I'm not going to admit to any of this shit. So, when you look at it, yes, it is incest. And it was only after people saw it on like Game of Thrones that people were like, oh, it happens. But, it also happened on Game of Thrones. I don't know when the hell people actually started using TV series as a justifying point. But, I can't blame the public for using it. All that I can say is, it's probably not the best excuse. Because imagine if your parents realize that you and your cousin are fucking. It's not going to go down well. But then again, parents don't really know that a lot of their daughters get pissed off because people have tiny penises. So that one can also slide. So when you kind of think about it though, it isn't like a thing when you get to like third, fourth cousin, because you guys are technically not related. Like when you get to, like when you go past second cousin, unless you guys were actually known to be like close family back in the day, it doesn't really go that far. When you think about it, third, fourth, fifth cousin, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, however far you want to go, that's where the relationship kind of breaks down. Like there's no blood tie. Like when it's a first cousin like that, it's straight up blood. Like there's blood of your family going through there. When it's a second cousin, it's like blood of you and an in-law. Like there's some mix. There's like that kinship tie. I think that was shit that I was being taught back in primary school. Kinship ties. So you can say that, yes, they do have some history. And you're not supposed to jeopardize that. When it gets to third cousin, like, how would I define a third cousin without going to dictionary.com? It's like if my father's brother had a wife and Wait, let me try that again. My father's brother's wife's sister-in-law, his child. If you say that, that's about a third cousin. Yeah, that's a third cousin actually. Because first cousin is direct, my father's, blood brother's child. That's first cousin. Second cousin is, my father's brother's wife's shit. How the hell do people define this? Okay, let me try doing this with writing it down. So my father has a brother who has a child. That's my first cousin. My father has a brother whose wife's sister has a child. That's a second cousin. My father's brother has a sister whose brother-in-law's brother has a child. Like, I think I've defined it far enough to third cousin that y'all are just seeing me force a relation there. So it's understandable if you go to like third and fourth, because the relation isn't that big. And, it's only ever really relevant when it comes to like, when you're trying to trace family history and shit, because there's not that many people that will ever really pay much attention to like a third cousin. So it does make sense. But now the thing that does come to mind when you ask yourself, like when you're doing all of this, what's the end goal? Like, I will not lie, smashing outside normal bounds it's one of those things that kind of feels good and is bad at the same time. It's that whole forbidden fruit theory. The forbidden fruit always tastes sweeter. And people will do that once. The problem is if they decide to like do it more than once. Because, like let's say it was really good, you go back in it. And we've had cases, not just, within like Kenya or Africa, like worldwide. People end up marrying their cousins. People end up marrying like a family member because they supposedly fell in love. I'm not sure that love is a very good justifying point every day, or at least in more logical terms, because let's be honest, you marry your sister, you marry your first cousin, and you get a child. I'm not saying that this is something that commonly happens, but you increase your chances of getting a child with complications, with some form of deformity, because it's like God's way of saying y'all isn't supposed to do that there. Like, fine, yes, have sex, just don't do it with your blood, because apparently it's like a DNA thing. Because when like two DNAs of the same kind mix, it's like there's gonna be some repulsion here and there. I haven't done enough research in that shit to tell you, but I'll edit that out. Now, when that happens, you're increasing your chances of having a child with some sort of deformity, some sort of not so nice condition that could affect them for life. All because y'all were chasing quote unquote love. And when you're doing it repeatedly, like the minute you're getting someone pregnant, like fuck, you screwed yourselves the fuck up. Like if you're gonna smash a relative, at least make sure you're safe about it. Just saying. For those of you that are gonna do it, I do not endorse or condone it, but if you're gonna do it, at least be safe about it. Because it's something that happens. It's just something that we like to keep in the closet. Because you, having been known that you had a thing with a relative, usually doesn't go down well. As we Kenyans like to say, what will we tell our people? What will we tell the people at church? What will we tell our relatives and friends? Like, how the hell will you explain that to the family during your next family reunion? That, what, my baby daddy is my cousin over there right across the table. Like, it's not very easy to explain such. So, like, when you look at it, if you're gonna do it, like, do it once and then forget about it. I'm not condoning it, but if you're gonna do it, at least don't do it more than a couple of times, because the more people do it, the more they start to like it, the more feelings start being involved, because for some reason people can never just bang and it just stays like that. Some feelings will start being developed here and there, and at some point, a lot of times you will find that mistakes will get made, because people get sloppy once they do shit all the time. Like, people get sloppy, and at the end of it, you'll find situations like a baby is being involved, or the family members are gonna know about it, and then it's gonna bring family issues. So if you're gonna do it once, make sure no one knows about it. Or if you're gonna let someone know about it for, I don't know, some sort of support, whatever the hell that is, during that time, at least make sure it doesn't get into like the upper family channels where it's like, your parents and your uncles and aunts, because that shit does not go down well for anyone. But anyways, I think I should stop giving people hacks for when you're having relations with a sibling, because it's not a very nice thing to do. And it is about time you get back to that work. Always put that process in that progress, or be the prevention. It has been me, Sir Denver B, on Breaktime on Westside. If you want to hit us up, you can hit us up on our IG at Breaktime_Westside. I will see you guys later.